In this video, we will see how to use the push notifications feature of the Kodika server. Initially, you will need to have enabled Kodika server in your application. This can be done quickly by going to the data section and pressing Enable on the Kodika server. For a device to be able to receive push notifications, you will need to request push notifications permissions from the user. You can present the native pop-up using the corresponding event action. After we import our design from our sketch file, we will use the When Screen First Loads event to show the pop-up when a user sees the screen for the first time. You can, of course, use any other event, like on click of a button, or the equivalent code block. Remember that for every event action, there is an equivalent code block in the code section for you to use in a custom function. Next, we will see how to send a push notification to every user of the application. Usually, this is a functionality that only specific roles should have, for example, an administrator. We will use an event action again, but this time we will connect it to a button. By adding the Send Push Notification to All Users action to a button, every time this button is clicked, a push will be sent to every user that has accepted the push notifications permission. You will need to ensure that only specific users can see this button. Usually, we want to send push notifications to a specific group of users. For example, if we are building a news app, we want to send notifications based on the category of the article the user has subscribed to. Push notification topics are the way to do it. Using the topic feature, you can group devices to receive specific notifications. You should not confuse the topic feature with a topic or a news article title. A topic name could be anything that can be grouped. For example, if the users in your app can belong to a team, you can use the unique team identifier as the topic name to send a push notification only to the users of this specific team. You can subscribe and unsubscribe a user to a topic using the corresponding event action or code block. In this example, we will use a function that will be called when a switch is changed. First, we will add a switch to our screen, and then we will create the function that will be called when the onValueChange event of the switch is fired. We need to add a function property to pass the switch new value in the function when it is called. Here we connect the function to the event, and then connect the new value function property to the updated value of the switch. Next, we will go to the code section and edit the new function to add the code blocks for the subscribe and unsubscribe based on the new switch state. So, if the new state of the switch is true, which means on, it will subscribe the current user to the topic, else will unsubscribe. After our users have subscribed to a topic, we can use an event action to send a push when an event occurs. We can even use the response of a data source request to send a push when a new post is created. We can go to the data section and create a new data type, called post, and then add a property called description. Next, we will create a new screen that will be used to create a new post when the Create button is pressed. After connecting the text fields to the corresponding post properties, we go to the On Success response, and add a new event action that will send a push notification to a specific topic when the post is successfully created. The topic name could be either static or dynamic using a screen property or a function. We will use static for now. The body of the post will be connected to the description of the push notification. For the title, we can use a static value again or connect it to the name of the push notification. We will need, of course, to connect the button onClick event to start the newly created data source request. Finally, we can send a push notification to a specific user or to a list of users. We can use either the user data type or the user ID. Let's check both options. Initially, we will add a new user relationship to the user data type, called kid and parent. In the first example, we will send a push notification to the parent property of the current user when an SOS button is pressed in the app. We can connect the SOS button to send a push notification when the onClick event happens. We will add a new event. Then, we will use the parent property of the current user and a hard-coded title and body. For the second option, we will send a push notification to every user of a specific team. For this example, we will need to create another data type, called team, and add a relationship between team and user. Now we can proceed to the creation of a new data source request to get all the users of a team. We will use the team property of the current user to filter the team. Then we will use the response parameter to send the push notification to the specific user IDs. Firstly, we will create and connect a function to be called after the users have been successfully fetched from the Kodika server. Then we should connect the returned records to a new screen property that will temporarily store the fetched users in order to be used in the function. We should also connect the button onClick event to start the newly created data source request. We will need to use the function to get the user IDs from the list of users screen property. We can use the loop code block to iterate in all of the fetched users and append their IDs in the user IDs list. Finally, we can use this user IDs list to send the push notification to these users.